Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and as you can see, I have a ton of Advent goodies out on my desk, and we are going to play with making a book for Advent study. And I have here all of the envelopes from Illustrated Faith. Now, I know that the kit sold out, the physical kit, but you can buy it digitally. You can print it out. You can also print out the envelopes. I do believe they have printable envelopes, so I think you can like do the whole shebang. So make sure to check it out over at Illustrated Faith in the Print and Pray shop. But we're gonna play. I kind of want to make an envelope book. I'm not totally sure how it's going to all work together, so we're gonna experiment together because I don't want to empty the envelopes. I still want to be able to open them every day. So yeah, we're gonna kind of see how that all ends up fitting together. But I will link things that I can down below, anything that's still available. Otherwise, I'm going to put you guys on fast forward. Let's go. All right, this was definitely a project that stumped me right at the beginning. I knew I wanted to use the envelopes as a book of some sort, but I also did not want to empty the envelopes in advance. I like the idea of getting to open a little surprise each day in the month of December. So I was trying to figure out how can I make this work? How can this all go together? There's going to be a card for each day where there's scripture and a little tiny short devotional, and I want to be able to get to it all, but I also want everything to be together in one place so that I don't have to search for pieces. It was a little bit perplexing. And so what I ended up deciding to do was I decided I will attach all of the envelopes by the flaps. That way I can easily get into each envelope, but I don't want the full flap because I thought that would be too thin. So what I'm doing is taking each flap, folding it in half, and then I will attach it that way. Now I'm trying to think through, where is the card going to go each day? How is it going to fit? It takes time to think through projects, and I left all of this in here because I wanted to show you that you have to think through. You have to think of how you're going to work through a project, especially a month-long project. You have to kind of consider how it's going to work. Where are you going to be working on it? Do you need all your supplies? Do you need it to be all together? Is it okay for things to be spread out? It's a whole process, and so this one definitely took me a little while to try to figure it out. Here's what I've decided. I'm going to make a cover for my book because I don't want it to just start with number one. I want to have a cover, so I have some cardstock here that was in a little set I think I got probably from Hobby Lobby last year. So we have that green piece, and then I'm actually going to pull out some black and white. I think this is old Felicity Jane. The green piece was a little bit short, meaning it didn't go all the way to the top of the flap, so we're going to use this black and white piece as the very front, and the green piece will be the back of the cover, if that makes sense, because the back of this black and white buffalo plaid is candy cane and it just doesn't really go with the devotional. So here we go. We're going to put it all together. I'm like, you can tell, I'm placing it over the top. When I'm thinking of things like spatial reasoning, trying to figure out how it's going to work, especially because this one is going to be a horizontal book. Normally I would do a book that like a typical book where you open it left to right, and this one's going to flip up as you go through it. And so that just challenged me to kind of think through how it would work in the end. All right, so I have my two papers. I'm making sure that they are the same size, trimming off some of the little edges. I want to cover up this little candy cane piece that is coming through. So we'll just use some of the gorgeous washi tape. I feel like this was my favorite washi tape release from Illustrated Faith. It is so pretty. It is absolutely beautiful. And I love all of the washi. So I have that. Now I'm trying to figure out, how is this going to work? You can see, where do I need this to be bendy, because at first I was going to glue all of the flaps together. You'll see I end up changing my mind on that, but I was like, oh, this needs to be scored because I need it to be glued. Well, when I scored it, it ended up going through the paper, and this is a white core paper. So you can buy cardstock that is the same color throughout the whole cardstock, or this one in particular is white core. Normally I like white core paper because I like to tear paper so often and I like to see the white edges. However, that's not cute. The little white that's sticking through. So my solution in general is to cover it up. Let's cover it up with some washi tape. We're gonna really utilize this washi tape, and in truthfulness, this is gonna end up being the inside of the cover. So I'm trying to get it all smoothed down. It'll all work out eventually, but this is where I'm just kind of problem solving, trying to think through how this will end up looking. This is where I come up with the solution that, you know what, these don't need to be glued together. I can use rings. And the best part about using rings is that you can take things apart. So as I work on each day, I can take that envelope out and work on it on my desk and then put it back in. So I think this is going to work fantastic. So let me measure my envelope, and it is about 5 inches across, and I'm going to mark 1.5 inches in from each side. You can see me very carefully marking it in with my ruler, and that is where the holes are going to go. I have a hole punch set out, and I'm going to use that hole punch to, ta-da, punch a hole in here and punch a hole in here. Now I have 2 holes so that I can attach things with rings, and then I will do the same thing with all of the other envelopes. So let's move the scoreboard out of the way. We're about to do like hole punching mania. So I'm using the first one as a template, lining up the envelopes, and ta-da, number 1. Again, I'm folding the flap of the envelope down so it's kind of doubled up each time. This is just giving it a little bit more strength at the top. I did not adhere it, so I folded it and didn't add any adhesive. Perhaps as I go, I might do that just to make it a little bit more secure, but for now, it is gonna work just fine like this. And you can see I'm just gonna use this cover as the template. And I'm able to keep all the things in the envelopes. I know they're not like sealed, which I actually super appreciate. The Illustrative Faith did not seal all these envelopes because I feel like they would have torn had we sealed them and had to open them. So I know they're not sealed, but the way I'm going to store this, everything is going to stay in. And if by chance a couple pieces fall out, no big deal. The card will definitely stay in for each day with the devotional content, and I'll be able to save a lot of the pieces. I'm pretty sure these are well-packed envelopes, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to save some of the pieces. And so if I can't find one for a particular day, I'll be able to use ones that I already had. So you can see it was quite the process putting all of the holes in the envelopes, but I think this is going to end up being so fun and cute. And plus, I love when you can work through an Advent study and you can leave it out to be seen. I think it's just another great reminder throughout the month as you are going through Advent, just to keep it at the forefront of your mind in the busyness of this whole season. All right, next up, getting the cards back in the correct order, and then I will be able to put them together with binder rings. I'm actually using binder rings that are 1.5 inches because these are going to be pretty thick once it's all together. You can see it's all like, it's going to be pretty thick. So we're going to use 1.5 inch binder rings. I don't think I'll have to go bigger than that, but I guess we'll kind of see as the month goes on. That's the other great thing about using binder rings or a tag ring or something like that. You can always expand it. And anytime you can take things apart to work on them, I think it helps a lot. So I had really wanted this to be one cohesive book, and it still is. It's just not all attached, and it kind of will make it easier for me to work through what I want to work through. So here's me thinking through how the cover is going to work. I will definitely be using these bottle brush trees because those are adorable. And why not add a little bit of trim? I'm all about all the things normally, but especially during the holiday season, I want all the trims and the textures and the glitz and all the things. I definitely embrace it. So to put trim down, generally I put a little bit of sticky adhesive like this, and then I also used Fabri-Tac glue, and the combination of the two helps keep the trim in place while the Fabri-Tac is drying. Fabri-Tac dries really fast. It's not a big deal to just hold it there for like a minute, but I just like the extra little backup of the sticky adhesive just to make sure everything's in place. So once that was pretty dry, then I'm just going to trim off the edge. You can see I'm going to think through where my card goes. I want to keep that intro card so that I can reflect on it. It kind of talks about what to expect through this, and I like that because when I go back to look at Advent projects from previous years, then I can remember what the focus was maybe for this particular season. All right, let's add a little trim to the back because again, we're doing all the things, and this is the title card, so it'll really stand out, which I think will be very nice. So I'm just going to trim that off. Same thing, putting down a little bit of sticky adhesive and some Fabri-Tac glue just to get everything nice and secure in place. I do end up packing up a lot of my Advent projects with my Christmas decor, and then I pull them out the next year, which is kind of nice because you have this reminder of years past. And I like to set them out and display them in my craft studio. With the card, this is how I think I'm going to do most of the cards. I'm going to attach them to the outside of the envelope with washi tape. That way you can flip and read everything that's on the card. You'll have the scripture, you'll have the little devotional content, and then see when you flip it and create a tip-in, you can also decorate what is behind it. You can write a prayer. I think there's going to be a lot of options for how I can work with it and how I can add to it. So I like having that interactive element. I'm all about that because the other thing I like to do is let my kiddos look through my Advent projects. And so if they're drawn in like through an interactive element, they're more likely to ask questions and it sparks great conversation. All right, so I have some puffy alpha all picked out to label my front card, and we're just going to use these bottle brush stickers, which I'm obsessed with. The one thing is that the pink one didn't have a little bottom part, and I didn't really notice it till I started putting the other ones down and realized that it is the only one that doesn't have a little stand, you might say. And so I'm gonna put these down, and then I'm actually gonna pull the pink one up and trim off a little stand from a different sticker because I feel like they all needed to have stands to be just a little bit more uniform looking. So we're gonna like put the stand there and then add our little pink tree and put it behind the sticker that it was behind, just so there's a more uniform look. Look how cute those are. And I even have a display of bottle brush trees in my craft room, so this just goes perfect. Next thing, I'm just going to spell out Advent 2022 and then add my title card into my little book, and we're going to be all set. I actually take the clear packing that came with this particular devotional kit where all the envelopes are packed, and I'm going to use that to hold my book, but I'm going to trim off the opening flaps because I just need the base really just to make sure that my book stays together as I start to work on it and I don't lose anything. See, it's going to fit in there, but I'm just going to take my scissors and trim that out and use it as a base. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. I'll make sure to link things down below. Like I said, a lot of this set is available as printables over on Illustrated Faith, so you can check that out, and still there's plenty of time to participate. I'll be working through Advent over on Instagram, so make sure to follow me over there and you'll see me working through these envelopes on a daily basis through the month of December. All right, I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon members. Thank you guys so much. You're awesome. And I hope that all of you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.